products in my shop, but people have no money. There are those who make strange offers to me. For example, widows want me to take them as wives. I already have 2 wives.
Not having a man around me all the time scares me. I am exposed to the bad looks of passers-by. Yemen is a male-dominated country, and as a woman, we need to be very careful. For example, it is strictly forbidden for our faces to be uncovered, and there are heavy penalties for it.
We want a generation that is religious and implements Sharia laws. We never accept our women uncovering themselves, alcohol, or adultery. These are crimes under our laws.
So what is the punishment for the most serious crimes? Is the death penalty applied in Yemen?
Yes, that is correct. The death penalty is indeed applied here.
In a world of billions of people, individuals are born into different living conditions and adapt to their surroundings. Some societies not only live in impoverished conditions, but also struggle with war and chaos within their own countries. One such country is Yemen, a Middle Eastern nation located at the southern tip of the Arabian Peninsula. Yemen is home to 45 million people. For over 15 years, this region has been plagued by civil wars and extreme poverty. In fact, Yemen is considered the poorest Arab nation by various sources. Yemen is also listed among the top 5 most unsafe countries in the world. Consequently, Yemen is not a country that welcomes tourists and views foreigners with suspicion. The vast majority of people here are forced to get by on less than $200 a month. To gain a more detailed understanding of these conditions, we obtained special permits to travel to southern Yemen and observed life there with a local team. Our journey began on the city's main streets, and our first goal was to get a general sense of the city. The houses and shops weren't very tall, and the bricks and stones of their exterior walls were visible. The asphalt on the main roads was old and dusty, clearly in need of maintenance. The women on the street wore black abayas and were mothers with many children. Almost all adult women in the country wear black abayas. For them, it is the only type of clothing. There was almost no green space in the city. Everything was covered in dust. The people were literally living in a pile of dust. The thick layers of dust accumulated on the vehicles were the best example of this. This is what the city looked like from above. A lifeless atmosphere dominated by shades of grey and yellow prevailed. This wasn't a farm field. The graves of the Yemeni people looked exactly like this. As we made our way into the back alleys of the city, the living conditions of the people began to deteriorate even further. There were piles of trash everywhere, with animals feeding on them. The children we passed weren't wearing shoes or flip-flops. Each of them was walking barefoot. Our local guide led us toward the city's inner streets. As we followed him, we saw the scenery grow even bleaker. The farther we went, the more poverty we saw. Nevertheless, we couldn't help but notice the large number of children on the streets. After a while, we stopped and dismounted. The children looked at us with curious eyes. They were all utterly innocent, and it was clear that they deserved a better life than the one they were living. They must not be getting enough to eat because they all looked malnourished. Since it is a dry region with low rainfall and high humidity year-round, the men wore thin t-shirts, flip-flops, and baggy pants. Meanwhile, the men in front of us were drinking milk tea, a beverage widely consumed in Yemen, and filling their stomachs with plain, hollow pastries. As far as we could tell, these pastries were produced and sold in abundance throughout the neighborhood. This man is also making a similar food product right here in this area. This is a local produce and bakery shop. The husband and wife sell baked goods and vegetables to customers here. This is what their shop looks like from across the street. When we looked inside the yellow jug, we saw that it was almost empty. The man said they didn't have enough water left to drink and were waiting for the water vendor. The vendor fills these colorful containers with clean water, and anyone who wants a drink can pay for a glass of water and drink from the container. Here's the inside of their shop. It looks a bit cluttered. The woman sells basic staples like potatoes and tomatoes to her customers from the room next door. People are getting by buying vegetables from this woman or this man. The vegetables this man was selling looked fresher than the other woman's produce.
Let me say a few things, brother. I wake up early in the morning and hit the road. I go to the vegetable market to see if there are any fresh products. Most of the time there are no new products. We struggle to buy products. Not enough food is entering the country. But that's not the worst part. Customers want to buy the vegetables I sell on credit from me.
Well, how does it work when you sell on credit?
If I don't sell on credit, people can't buy because they don't have money. The products rot in the heat and out in the open. And the worst part is, they come at night and steal my vegetables. I don't blame our people. No one with money wants to steal food. My family and I don't go to sleep hungry at night. But I know many people in this neighborhood who go to sleep hungry at night. People can barely manage to eat one meal a day. As for my earnings, after all expenses are deducted, I'm left with about 1,000 Saudi riyals.
We left and started walking around the neighborhood. Everyone who passed by looked at us with different expressions. When women coming from the opposite direction saw us, they veered toward the side of the road. At the beginning of the street, we saw massive barrels. They contained a limited supply of water for cooking, drinking, and bathing. The city government fills the barrels, and people come with containers to carry water away. When people run out of water, they have no choice but to go to grocery stores and buy water in plastic bottles. Otherwise, if the barrels of water available to everyone in the neighborhood run out, families will be left completely without water. As you can see, there is a high demand for clean water. Children sent by their families to the grocery store line up to buy water.
I sell a wide variety of snacks, essential cleaning products, and various packaged foods right here in my shop for your convenience. But there are problems with clean water. As you can see, bottled water sells out immediately. Even if you live in a poor society, you cannot cut back on basic needs like food and drink. The most common problem I face is that people want to buy things on credit. I don't know, there aren't many people who can directly hand me cash. They beg me a lot, especially when it comes to water. All the young people here are sad because they weren't born in Saudi Arabia or Dubai. The Saudis are our neighbors, but they are rich and we are poor.
So, for example, what is your monthly income?
Honestly, it actually changes depending on the situation. Everything is constantly changing from day to day. If I did this job in rich Arab cities like Mecca or Dubai, I would earn at least 5,000 Saudi riyals. But here I can earn at most 1,200. Moreover, this place is not safe. If you are born here, you start life very far behind. And this is our destiny.
There are various grocery stores like this one in the neighborhood. For example, this man owns one of these stores. He sells basic food items in his shop. People in the neighborhood have no choice but to trust that the products he sells are of good quality and safe to consume. This is because they don't have many other shopping options.
What can you tell me about the work you do in life here?
I have products in my shop, but people have no money. There are those who make strange offers to me. For example, widows want me to take them as wives. I already have 2 wives.
So are women trying to escape financial hardship this way?
Yes, because women cannot find work. If a woman's husband dies here, she needs to find a new husband to take care of her and her children. That's why they turn to shop owners like me. They agree to become a 2nd or 3rd wife. May God help everyone, because everyone is trying to survive. I only have enough means to take care of 2 women.
On the city's narrow streets, people hang their laundry on lines along the sides of their homes. Passers-by can come into direct contact with the laundry, and there is no protection. Since people do not have balconies, they must hang their laundry outside to dry. If they receive mail from the municipality, they go to mailboxes to retrieve and read their letters. There is no home delivery system here. Mailboxes are scattered throughout neighborhoods, so if you're expecting a letter or bill, you should check them frequently. Children might rummage through the boxes and tear valuable papers, or the wind might scatter them outside. You'll also find curtains like these at the entrances to homes. These curtains are on the front doors of almost every house. They prevent the interior of the home from being directly visible when the door is opened. In other words, Yemenis place a great deal of importance on privacy. Here is another food shop. This family prepares meals for customers in the shop. The man has 2 wives and they prepare food for customers. In Yemen, a man has the legal right to marry up to 4 women. Men do not need to obtain permission from their wives to marry more than 1 woman, nor is a court order required. For now, this man has decided that having 2 wives is sufficient. Since marrying more than 1 woman is costly, most men do not have 4 wives. This is because the Yemeni economy does not support such arrangements. As we approached the meal the women had prepared, we noticed something unusual cooking in the pot. The dish consisted of animal tripe, feet, pieces of hide, and internal fat. Due to economic conditions in Yemen, people do not waste any part of an animal and eat every bit of it. Additionally, people do not have enough money to afford eating an entire animal's red meat in one meal. For this reason, dishes made from offal are preferred. Our local friends invited us to another house for lunch. As we walked toward it, we were met by the sight of trash scattered all around.
I'm sure you've heard of the Owens house. The one where sisters gather. The one that neighbors whisper is magic. Here's the thing about
Neighborhoods say that the local government isn't doing anything to clean up the trash. In other words, there is likely no administrative unit in the city responsible for trash collection. The trash sits out in the heat for long periods of time, spreading foul odors and disease. The influence of the city's law enforcement must be quite weak, because the neighborhood we visited had local leaders responsible for security.
We do not want our youth to go down the wrong path. We want a generation that is religious and implements Sharia rules. When we identify people in our neighborhood who have connections to alcohol and other prohibited substances, we give them a whipping punishment and hand them over to the police. The biggest problems in Yemen are wars and migration. These migrations cause great damage. For example, when men from my team are lost, it becomes difficult to manage the neighborhood. Local administrations are weakening.
So do you think Yemen is a safe country?
If we unite and join hands, we will become a safe country. We never accept our women unveiling alcohol or adultery. These are crimes under our laws. The economy will surely improve, but immorality will not.
So what is the punishment for the most serious crimes? Is the death penalty applied in Yemen?
Yes, the death penalty is applied here.
Well, do criminals return to committing crimes after completing their sentences?
Someone who receives the death penalty doesn't have the chance to commit crimes again. As for lighter sentences, the tendency to reoffend decreases.
I am tasked with carrying out the orders and punishments I receive from my leader in the neighborhood. Some people may turn to committing theft, robbery, and other crimes, and we intervene before the police do. And thank God I have been able to perform my duty without any problems so far. Our main goal is to keep our people from straying from the truth and to enforce the rules in our society. Our goal is to be able to keep people under control. We are the soldiers of this country who serve a social purpose.
After leaving there, we arrived at a woman's home for lunch. Her situation is considered better than that of many others. She has electricity and a fan to cool off with in Yemen's stifling 45 degrees Celsius heat. This power source is a car battery, as you all know. She uses the car battery as an electricity source. They also use it to charge their phones as a light source at night, and to power a television if they have one. She lives in this area with her grandchildren. Since there is no toilet inside their home, they relieve themselves here. Cats can also be found in the toilet area. There is no access to water or sanitary wipes around the toilet. Consequently, they have to clean themselves with water that they've collected in jugs. Similarly, dishes are washed in this outdoor area. The woman says the cats don't cause any problems, but she is extremely afraid of mice. She uses this gas canister and stove to cook. This is her bedroom. It looks exactly like bedrooms in neighborhoods across Yemen. She has used curtains to block some of the sun's rays. The stone walls keep the interior cool. However, the roof is made of makeshift metal sheets. She lives here with her daughter and grandchildren. While we were resting, her family prepared lunch. They seemed to eat simple, modest meals. They cracked plenty of eggs into a skillet and cooked them. Then they sat around a large tray on the ground and began eating, tearing off pieces of bread with their hands. They didn't use forks or spoons during the meal. Everything is eaten by hand, and the entire meal is shared from a single plate. In other words, no one has their own portion. To fill your stomach, you have to be quick and take the biggest bite possible. In my opinion, this amount of food is never enough to satisfy so many people. But the conditions there require making do with very little. After we parted ways with the woman, our local friend mentioned a famous Yemeni plant that we absolutely had to see. He said there's a place where these plants are sold around noon. Some call this plant Yemeni herb, while others call it khat. Yemenis consume this herb so much that they stand in long lines at the markets just for it. This herb is sold in abundance at this market. People chew the leaves slowly for anywhere from 2 to 5 hours. They hold the chewed leaves against one side of their cheek and do not swallow them. They say that after doing this, they feel more energetic and refreshed. The leaves of this herb have an antidepressant effect, reducing fatigue, irritability, and a lack of concentration. Consequently, adult men are very interested in this plant and have become psychologically dependent on it. We had the chance to speak with 2 people at the market.
I have been selling this herb for over 20 years, and everyone buys it with pleasure. This herb is Yemen's most famous plant. There is almost no adult who doesn't use it. The majority of our customers consist of merchants, civil servants, and landowners. Frankly, people need this kind of supplement because in Yemen, there is no day that passes without stress. Here, people deal with various troubles all day long. It is essential for people to benefit from this plant to feel energetic and strong. I mean, if I have to list them, thanks to this herb, people become more talkative, more cheerful, more energetic, and less irritable. Thus, peace increases in the environment. People clash less with each other and remain calm.
How much do you spend on this herb monthly?
Let me be honest with you. Almost half of my salary goes to this. I mean, it's the kind of thing that becomes addictive after a while. Also, those who hoard it sell it for more on the black market. There are some who even cut back on their children's food and invest in hoarding this herb. Then, when there's a shortage of the herb, they release it onto the market at a high price. This herb really provides us with great mental relief. If they gave us alternatives, we would turn to other activities. We would quit immediately.
I mean, what could be an alternative?
When I say alternatives, let them give us parks, gardens, let them give us activities, jobs, professions, employment opportunities, and let them keep the electricity on 24 hours a day. Then no one would chew these herbs anymore.
While we were there, we observed other people as well. Here are some more dough sellers. Since these dough items are fatty and sugary, they keep people full for a long time. Unable to afford meat, people try to stay energetic by eating these inexpensive dough-based fatty foods. Here, unique Arabian meatballs are being sold. This hearty Yemeni soup is made with wheat, honey, and flour. For elderly and unemployed Yemenis, playing card games like this is the main activity in the marketplaces. People play card and board games to pass the time enjoyably. Although they may appear poor, they seem to have a high zest for life. If you want to eat a sugary fruit in Arab countries like Yemen, they'll recommend these dates first. Dates are sweet fruits that grow abundantly and easily in this region. In Yemen, fishing is the profession people turn to most as a source of livelihood. People living in the southern city of Aden catch dozens of varieties of fish in the Yemen Sea and sell them at fish markets. The fishermen use boats to catch the fish and bring them ashore. Then they sort the fish by species and lay them out on the ground to await sale. People of all ages, from children to the elderly, are involved in fishing. This is because fish serve as both a source of food and a means of earning money. By the time we returned to the city centre, evening was approaching. As we wandered through the neighbourhood, we looked for opportunities to meet other people. The cars in the neighborhood looked like nothing more than junk. Since maintenance and gas were too expensive, people weren't using their cars and had simply abandoned them. Most people relied on motorcycles for transportation. As we walked down the street, we saw a woman sitting by the roadside. She was sitting on the ground, washing her clothes in a basin. She agreed to show us her home and chat with us for a while. This is what the hallway leading into her home looked like. This was her kitchen, with her gas stove right next to it. She stored the ingredients she used for cooking right here. The paint on the walls was peeling. Since she didn't have enough furniture, she had crammed clothes that wouldn't fit in the closet into these small wooden cabinets. The large closets in the house looked like this. The woman's home was similar to the other houses in this regard. 3 of the children belonged to this woman.
Do you have a profession or a regular income?
It is difficult for women to acquire a profession in Yemen. Here, people look at a woman working with strange eyes. In our culture, men work, and the woman serves her children and her husband.
So where is your husband and what does he do for a living?
He is a fisherman and he doesn't come home for a long time. I have to stay here all by myself. Not having a man around me all the time scares me. Well, I am exposed to the bad looks of passers-by on the street. Yemen is a male-dominated country, and as a woman, we need to be very careful. For instance, it is strictly forbidden to have our faces uncovered, and there are severe penalties for it. Women are stigmatized in society for the slightest mistake. In fact, I shouldn't even be talking to you right now. What I mean is there is both oppression and an economic hardship here. If on top of that you are a woman with children, no one but God can help you.
Here is another group of men. Since most of them are unemployed, they spend the entire day here playing board and card games. However, the children's greatest source of entertainment was this game room powered by a generator. Children who can afford it come here to play video games with their friends. By evening, our stomachs ached a bit, probably from everything we'd eaten throughout the day. I asked my local friend if there was a pharmacy nearby. We then rode a motorcycle to find it. When we entered, women were buying medicine inside. We looked around and tried to observe the place. It seemed like the pharmacy in the city center had an ample supply of medicine. This is what life is like for people in this city in southern Yemen. If you'd like us to visit more of these lesser-known places, please like this video, leave a positive comment, and subscribe to our channel.